So it's Q&A time. I am going to answer some of the questions that were included in my Facebook group from some of my um, members. So let's do, well, I'm going to answer some questions and I'm also going to respond to some questions that I see here. So one person put, are there members in this group willing or interested in joining boards? Now I'm going to say to you, if you're looking for board members like that, just by dropping messages in different groups, that is not the way to look for board members. I'm going to say that. You need to get a job description. You need to know what you're looking for. That is a much better approach to securing board members. So if the message would have read more like, I am a youth development organization that has been in existence for over 10 years, and we currently have a vacant slot for a person of color who has a background in finance, and we are interviewing and we're interviewing potential candidates. If you think you are a fit, here's the job description, and you can reach out for me to schedule an interview. If you're going to use social media to do that type of recruitment, that's the way to do it. Not, oh, are there members in this group willing or interested in joining boards? Because I'm telling you, people like me that serve on boards and like to be protective of their time, I'm scrolling past that because I'm like, they ain't ready. They don't have it together. They don't have a job description. They probably don't even have a meeting calendar. They don't know when they're going to meet, and I'm going to have to do a whole lot more work than I'm willing to do. I'm just being honest with you. So there's that. Now, this question I love. So, how do you steward past board members and longtime donors after a leadership change? So, my advice would be is to do a listening tour. So, call them up, introduce yourself as the new CEO or the new resource development person, or whatever that is, and invite them to lunch, or say, I would love to come meet with you and get your input on where you would like to see the organization go. It's a listening tour, and you're going to just listen. What was your experience like? What do you remember? Where you think the direction should be? You're engaging them. So you're going to go on a listening tour with those past board members and those long-term donors. Introduce yourself and let them know, I am here and I am here to listen, because I want to make sure that the greatness of the organization continues, or there are some things that if you inherited an organization that wasn't doing quite as well, you want to make sure that they can be confident in you. And also, it doesn't hurt to say, I'm here because I want to hear your advice, right? Because there's changes needed. So long answer short, go on a listening tour with those past board members and those longtime donors. It's a great opportunity to introduce yourself, to get some advice, because where advice is given, money soon follows. So I know that's going to help someone. So someone else asked, what are some fundraisers that work best for you all? Now, that is a hard question to answer because I don't know the circumstances in which you're trying to fundraise. Now, if you're talking about a special event, and that's what I'm going to assume that you're talking about, you really want to think carefully about what special event you're doing. And I'm going to tell you right now, special events are not worth it most time. You got to know that going in. They're going to cost you by the time you factor in the human capital. So, not that I'm against special events. I think every organization should have at least one signature event. One or two, no more than two, because they do cost so much time, because we don't normally factor in like staff time and volunteer time and all of that. You need to factor those things in because those are real costs for the special event. So if you're asking what worked best, that's what I'm going to say around the special event. 1 to 2 special events in a year for organization. Make them a signature event, and they're really there to build awareness. And what happens with those donors beyond that event is where the real money comes in. So you don't just want them to, if you just say, if you do a gala, and there's so many galas out there, I'm not suggesting that you do one, but if, let's say if you do a gala, um, you're going to have, businesses sponsor the tables. In my word, businesses sponsor the table. And when they sponsor the table, more than likely, you're not going to get the decision maker sometimes at those tables, but you're going to get some potentials, right? And so you want to make sure you capture who are at those tables and that you follow up with them so that you can get them interested in your organization. Now, there's many fundraisers out there when it comes to signature events. There's the galas, there golf tournaments, there's duck derbies, there you can do a breakfast, you can do all those things. Please don't waste your time doing bake sales. Don't waste your time doing the restaurant partnerships. You're not going to make any money. Restaurant partnerships, they're going to send you a great check for about $10. That's it. So don't do that to yourself. And don't try to go from event to event to event. You're going to wear yourself out. You need to sit down and be strategic about what event is going to be your signature event, and make sure that you have the bandwidth to do that signature event, and no more than 2 signature events. There are plenty of them out there. And I have a event enhancer um, event enhancer ebook. And if anybody wants that, just type in event and I'll send it to you. So there's that. Now, someone asked about government contracts. I'm not a government contract expert. I have had government contracts. When I think of government contracts and the contracts that I've had, I think of partnerships. And so I think because I was in youth development, government contracts for me ring partnership, partnership with the school district to provide after school care, right? Or after school programs in a school setting. I had a contract with the CISD. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about, but for those who are thinking that way, government contracts. I had government contract with the Workforce Solution to provide job skills training. So that's what I think of when I think of government contracts. I think of those types of partnerships. So that's what I would say. If you're talking about contracts where you have to go bid on stuff, things like that, that's not my expertise. I'm sure there are people out there that has that expertise, not my expertise. So hopefully someone will may respond to that one around government contracts, because that's the only comment that says there, government contracts. So someone else says, how are you cutting through all the noise to get your fundraising goals met? Ooh. Well, cutting through all the noise. Cutting through all the noise means that you have to be consistent and you have to use multiple channels to cut through all the noise. So, for example, in my business, right? This is my business. I'm live up here. I've been live every day. It's a goal. I post, and I'm going to give y'all a little secret. I schedule my post. Every platform, whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, Meta, Instagram, you can schedule your post. So I have what you call Social Media Sunday. and I sit down and I schedule all my LinkedIn posts, I schedule all my Facebook posts, which also schedules the Instagram posts. I schedule a YouTube. I'm going to stop lying. My YouTube, my VA handles my YouTube. I'm not as good at it. What he does is he takes my lives and then he makes them really nice and then he puts them up on YouTube. So you can get yourself a VA too, a virtual assistant. There are a lot of virtual assistants out there that help nonprofits. There's another little tip for you. But you got to be consistent to cut through all the noise. So that's the social media channel. Be consistent on social media. You got to be consistent on your email, right? So anybody who's on my email list knows every Friday at 6 o'clock, like clockwork, they're going to get my newsletter. That's consistent. Pick your social media channels. Be consistent on that one. Your email, you got to have an email because the data that you put on, so the information you put on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, that's owned by them. Your email list is owned by you. So be consistent, and video is king on social media. I can't stress that enough. So use video. Go live. If you don't feel comfortable going live, record it and then use Canva Pro, upload it into that. And yes, nonprofits get Canva Pro for free, and then you can schedule that out. But that's how you cut through the noise, because there is a lot of noise out there. Using multiple channels, being consistent, and the other multiple channel that I'm not even talking about, that's all digital. It's in person. You got to show up in your community and you got to network. You got to get out there. So y'all think I do enjoy it. I do enjoy going to events, but it's also a business strategy. I am out there. I'm getting my face out there. I am out there growing my network and actively growing my network, right? So it's not all digital. There's a component of it being impersonal and growing my network. That's not only going to help me in the aspect of fundraising, because I serve on boards, 2 boards where I have to fundraise for. And so that's going to grow my network. But not only that, it's also going to show people that I just don't show up when I need something. When they're having an event, I'm there to support them. So in turn, when I have something going on, they will support me. And if you're looking for board members, if you came to my 3-day board recruitment challenge, you know you got to grow your network to get some good board members. And of course, someone always say, how do you cut through the noise with your fundraising goals? Someone always says grants. Yes, grants are available to nonprofits. But just because you got your nonprofit 501c3 doesn't mean that you're grant ready. So there's some foundational work that you need to do. Now, I'm not talking about your retail store grants or those type of grants. I'm talking about if you want the government grants, state, federal, some larger foundation grants, you got to get your foundation itself together. And there's plenty of training in the group on what that means, right? Someone else asked, who is still using PayPal to accept online donations? Now, I'm going to ask y'all to do something. You can use PayPal, but you got to get yourself a fundraising platform. And a lot of the fundraising platforms, you can incorporate your PayPal, your Venmo, your Cash App, but you just can't be out here with just your Cash App, your Venmo, and your PayPal for your nonprofit. You need to have a fundraising platform. There are a lot of fundraising platforms out there. There's GiveButter. There is Jiffy. There are so many out there. And I even wrote a blog on all it was like 12 fundraising platforms. So they're there. Take the time to set up the platform so that you are official and that you look official and that people can invest in you. Now, I like this one. Um, Looking for board members for a minority missing persons organization. Again, we spoke to this. This is a little bit more detail. At least I know what they're doing. But again, we need more detail. It's an honor to serve on a board. And you wouldn't post a job with just this much information. You would post what you're looking for. You would post the job description. You would even on a job, you would post what the time requirement is. You got to think about this thing. You're asking people to give up their time, their talent, and their treasure. And you got to put a little bit more effort into your recruitment process. Someone else asked about marketing. Where do you start? Well, marketing starts again with consistency, right? So pick a social media platform that you're going to go all in on. Now, all the social media platforms, I will say this. I started out in Facebook because I was comfortable in Facebook. I'm a woman of a certain age. That's where I started at. When I started my Facebook group, Nonprofit Professional Exchange, I started with 0. Now it's over 13,000 people. But I celebrated my 5th year this year. It took me some time to grow that. I had to be consistent and put some effort into it. I started out on Facebook. I realized maybe my target audience, and that's what you're going to have to do too, maybe my target audience is not on Facebook. So you really need to determine where your target donor is. If it's a little bit younger, it might be Instagram. But now that Facebook has bought Instagram, you can court Instagram and Facebook at the same time. If it's not there, then it's LinkedIn. Then go all in on LinkedIn. But pick one channel, go all in on that channel. Maybe it's YouTube if you like video, whatever it is. Go all in on that one channel and focus. Where you focus expands. But simultaneously, I'm going to go back. Email. Your email list. Make sure you're capturing emails because that's your data. So start there. Another question that was asked was, let's see, creative fundraising. I think I've addressed that question. Now, somebody did ask, does anybody know about a fiscal sponsor? There are fiscal sponsors out there. Our organization that we actually just got asked to be a fiscal sponsor of another organization that's starting up. And there's questions that have to be answered because when you ask someone to be a fiscal sponsor, basically you're borrowing their credibility. And that's scary because they have built up their credibility and you're basically asking to borrow it. So you have to be a good partner. So if I'm the fiscal agent and we apply for a grant, right, and you get those pass-through dollars, the name on the grant application is still my organization. So if I need a report to be turned in, you have to be a good partner and get me the information that I need. If we have to file like the taxes, the 990, you have to be a good partner and do your accounting right. So I cautiously go into fiscal partnerships. I only went into fiscal partnerships or sponsorships with people that I trusted, organizations that I trusted. And if I didn't go into partnerships with you. And if we went into a partnership one time and you messed up, I was done. Because again, that's my reputation. That's how we get our funding for our organization. So you have to be a good partner in those endeavors. So those were the questions that was asked in the group this week. I hope, hey Andrea, I hope that you got some insight out of those answers to those questions. because as we move through this journey, there will always be questions. And I will say this: there are a lot of great people in and around on social media. So find yourself a good group, ask questions in that group, and get many opinions. You know, there's people out there who want to help. So that's what I have to say. And Andrea, it's so good to see you. I don't literally see you, but I know you're over there on Facebook. Andrea for has her organization, Scars Uncovered. And if I got it wrong, Andrea, I'm sorry. But it's I know she started out on Instagram because that's where I follow her organization is on Instagram. So she has mastered that. She a little bit scared of the LinkedIn. I do know that. And I'm like, you missing some opportunities over there on LinkedIn. So and I say that, and when I say there's missing opportunities on LinkedIn, I'll say this for all nonprofits. LinkedIn is more where you are going to find your professionals, right? Your professional people, and that's where you should be. I call social media stalking for potential board members, but don't be going in there and writing anybody want to join my board because they're going to ignore you. That's not what you do. These are professionals, and you need to do the process right. So that is it. And so I this is my yesterday. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't go live. I did do a training yesterday with 30 board members, and it just exhausted me. So if without counting yesterday, this is a what about day 12 or so going live. So I'm trying to stick to it, y'all, and I need to see y'all doing the same. So I will talk to you later. Yes, Andre, I saw you on LinkedIn. I saw that. So I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be good. And I leave you with this as I always do. Your mission matters and deserves to be funded to its fullest capacity. Bye bye.